What do you get when you add salt, pepper, and garlic to beef? A big fat pile of justice. Let's smoke a tri-tip. Here we go. Step number one, you're gonna have to get a good sharp knife and you're gonna have to clean some of this stuff up. So, little thin pieces like this, I'm gonna go ahead and take them right off because they're just gonna get burnt up and crispy. You'll wanna take some of this fat down. Try not to remove a lot of the meat if you can help it. Got some silver skin here, so I'm gonna go ahead and get that. Again, don't go too deep. All right, we got the surface cleaned up here. If you notice this piece is real thin, that is just gonna burn right up. So what I'm gonna do is go ahead, kind of round this off. When I'm trimming this, I'm kind of taking the approach I take with brisket. You don't want hard, sharp edges. Everything nice and aerodynamic. We're gonna dry brine, so we're gonna get some kosher salt. I'm using Diamond Crystal kosher salt. You wanna go pretty heavy on this. So what this is gonna do, if you're not familiar with dry brining, it's going to draw the moisture out of the meat, and then it's gonna reabsorb all this salt back into the meat. So I know it looks like I'm using a lot, but I promise it will not be over salted. Don't forget to hit your sides. All right, it's perfectly seasoned. The dry brining has begun. We're going to put this on a tray. It's going to hang out in the refrigerator overnight, and then we will pick this back up tomorrow. So here we are 24 hours later. You can see this color has gotten much more deep red. That's from the salt doing its job. I have had this out of the refrigerator for about 15 minutes. It's still fairly cold. I'm going to leave it out for at least another half hour before I put it on the pit. So let's go ahead and season it up. I'm going to start with some grapeseed oil. This is just enough oil so that the rub is going to stick. First step, going to go 16 mesh black pepper. Think about seasoning this like you would season a steak. Whatever you like on steak will work on this. Now, the reason I start with the black pepper is that's going to help when it's in the smoker. It's going to attract some smoke. It's a process that a lot of people use when making briskets. If you start with the pepper first, it's going to hang on to the smoke a little better. Next, going to go with some garlic powder. Because if you've watched any videos of mine, you probably know I'm a big garlic fan. And finally, going to go with a little bit of Lowry seasoned salt. Again, you've already salted this, so you don't want to go crazy, but just a little bit. And flip it over. Repeat the process. All right, got it properly seasoned. Again, I'm going to leave it here for just a few more minutes, and then we're going to take it out to the pit and get this party started. Tri-tip season's ready to go on. We're going to run temps today somewhere in the 210 to 215 range, a little lower than normal. Going to give this time to get a decent amount of smoke on it. It's going to bring that temperature up nice and slow. We're going to bring it up to about 125 degrees overall. The tip here is going to be a little closer to 130. We're going for like 125 to 127 in this part of the meat. And once we finish the smoking process, we will then crank up the grill. We're going to get it screaming hot, and we're going to sear this sucker off, and it's going to be delicious. Going to get the tri-tip on. We're putting the thicker portion of the meat towards the back of the chamber. That's the hotter part of the chamber. Up towards the door is a little cooler, so that way we can help protect this thing and make sure nothing gets too overcooked. I'm going to take a thermometer, stick it in just so we can keep a reading on what's going on. And now it's just a waiting game. The next step on our tri-tip journey is to make a chimichurri. So to start, you're going to get some flat leaf parsley. This is an Italian parsley. Don't get the curly stuff. We're going to remove the stems. Going to kind of roll this up tight. And we are going to spend quite a while chopping this. You're going to want to chop this really fine. You don't want any big leaves in it. Again, this is the tedious part of the process. I'm going to scoop this up and get it into a bowl. Next, you have 3 cloves of garlic. You're going to smash them, get the peels off of them, and you're going to chop it fine. Whoo, pungent. Into the bowl. Going to get a couple tablespoons of red wine vinegar. Again, I'll have this recipe down in the description. I'm going to go half a teaspoon of red pepper flake. Again, if you want this to be super hot, just bump this up. We've got 1 teaspoon of coarse salt. I'm using a kosher salt. In fact, it's diamond crystal. Half a teaspoon of black pepper. 3/4 of a teaspoon of oregano. And half a cup of olive oil. And give this a really good mix. You can do this in your blender if you want to save time, but I find chopping the ingredients releases a different kind of flavor profile and really bumps this up a notch. You want to do this a decent amount of time in advance, kind of let all these flavors meld together, and then once the tri-tip is done, it's going to go over the top of it. Yum. So we're right at 127, 128 degrees internal. I'm going to go ahead and open this up. We're about 2.5 hours full cook time. And we're going to pull this and let it rest for about 10 to 15 minutes. I'm going to tent it in foil, and then it's going to get seared off on the grill. So I rested down for about 10 to 15 minutes. Got the grill cranked up, running super hot fire here, like the gates of Hades itself. And we are going to throw this on for 30 to 45 seconds on each side. So here she is. As far as how the grain is running in this, it's a bit like a brisket. So up here, it's running more this way, and down here, it's running this way. All right, let's treat this like the burnt ends. Yep, I'd say that looks pretty good. I'm gonna hit this with some chimichurri. Ain't she pretty? Let's get a taste of this. Gonna try one of the fake burnt ends. Oh, oh man. Oh wow, that is fantastic. Here we go. A slice with some chimichurri. Wow, the pepper that I put on the outside is really pungent. It's really got a kick to it, but I like it. It's excellent. The dry brining that we did, it never fails. If you're not dry brining your meat, steaks, briskets, whatever, give that a shot. This is something to write home about. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, give me a like, give me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. And as always, get up, go out, cook some good food, be a little bit better tomorrow than you were today, and I'll catch you next time.